Hey War Pugs, we're continuing on the SCP-001 Daybreak Saga. This is done by Mr. Illustrated. I have nothing but positive things to say about this series so far. It has been an absolute roller coaster from start to finish. It has been one of the most disturbing SCPs that I have seen, one of the SCP's propositions that I have seen. It is excellently written, and Mr. Illustrator went all out on this, okay? He really did. This shows his evolution as an artist and a storyteller. I said that almost every single video for this one. We're going to jump right into this. Guys, if you want to see more from Mr. Illustrated, check out the description down below, because all the links are going to be there. But for now, we're getting into St. Elmo's Fire Part 2, Dr. Bright. Now, when we last saw Dr. Bright, he was helping somebody deal with the aftermath of losing one of the iPods, which makes me sad, as well as what happened to 049. Let's get into it.
Good day everyone and welcome back, and it's time for another When Day Breaks, and today we're picking up with the St. Elmo's Fire timeline, Dr. Bright now in flesh form, and Dr. Sumerian, who are both on their way to Yellowstone. If you haven't seen part 1, make sure you have, or you're going to get very confused. You can find the entire When Day Breaks playlist pinned below. Big up the patrons for making this video possible, a thank you to the council and administrators, and let's get started.
Let's go.
Dr. Sumerian was sweating through the multiple layers of clothing that covered his face and body. The threat of moonlight wasn't as serious as the sun, but it had caught more than a few of his co-workers unaware. The worst part of today, though, was the gurgling sound of the monster that was hiding in this office building's break room. He called out in a panic for his colleague over the din of the approaching mass of flesh. The lump of skin and blood knocked over chairs and desks as it flopped end over end in his direction. Sumerian slowly moved up the stairwell while trying to activate the weapon in his hands. The flamethrower clicked and a gout of fuel sprayed out onto the creature. Then a small spark ignited the flames. The flesh ball screeched and shriveled under the heat, slowly crackling into lifelessness. Sumerian finally breathed again as he stepped back onto something spongy. He yelled and spun around, weapon raised, ready to engage another monster before it could take him.
Calm down.
A familiar, if unsettling voice answered back.
It's me.
Sumerian managed to compose himself fairly quickly.
Ah, right. Could have used your help about 2 seconds earlier.
Oh, sorry.
And the flesh monster that sounded like Dr. Bright raised up into the night.
I had to eat a bigger one floor up.
So it's safe to say this place isn't going to be any good for us once dawn hits.
I wouldn't say that. I think these lumps were the only ones around here. Did you find any food?
Yeah, chips and stuff. Not a big selection. Should be enough to keep me going.
You could eat the flesh.
How about we not and say we did?
I'm not... Look, we talked about this. I'm not eating the flesh.
Yeah, you say that now, but wait until we go a few days without finding any junk food.
And we'll cross that bridge when we... Wait, hold up. Is that what you do?
Well, I mean, if you're not going to eat it.
The flesh monster that sounded like Dr. Bright reached a pseudopod out and grasped the charred but still smoking flesh lump at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh my god.
Suddenly, rows of teeth appeared along the seam that was producing Dr. Bright's voice. Then he began to eat. Dr. Sumerian fought back, a rising feeling of nausea in his stomach as Dr. Bright ate the bag of burned flesh and blood.
Now that's called recycling.
You know what? I'm not that hungry. We should find a place to settle in for the day.
Yeah.
The creature stopped chewing for a moment.
I'll save the rest for later.
Great.
Dr. Sumerian
Just no problem. We're just here doing this. Don't worry about it.
climbed the stairs slowly behind the flowing mass of flesh. He missed the company of his former MTF teammates from Site-88. He didn't blame them. Even he was wary that the flesh creature could turn on him at any moment.
True.
He also half expected to wake up and discover that this was a fever dream caused by eating spoiled rations. He pinched himself again. No such luck. Dr. Bright kept...
Do you... That's just a disturbing visual in and of itself. The war pugs in the background, they demand war.
part of himself next to Dr. Sumerian as he slept. It wouldn't do if Sumerian died before they got to Yellowstone and reset the planet, but
Yeah, that would just screw up everything. That would just screw up the whole thing. Road trip's screwed.
he had to sleep, or else they'd never make it anyway. Not to mention the man was grumpy as sin if he didn't get at least 4 hours of rest. The temperature began to rise as the sun started to make its way overhead. The rest of his body was exploring the office building.
Oh my god.
This definitely used to be a Foundation front company. All the letterhead said Southern Crosscut Pines, which, if he was being honest with himself, was hilariously on the nose.
Yeah.
How come every front company had the initials SCP? Though, seeing claw marks on the floor and pools of blood where people used to be, he realised that none of that really mattered much anymore. Anomalous, normal, none of that matters anymore to the people touched by the sun.
True.
A beam of sunshine made its way onto his skin from a hole in the ceiling. The rush of endorphins, at least it felt that way, came back. That sudden feeling of bliss, a togetherness that is unparalleled, unreserved beauty. His mind flashed back to the Foundation researcher in whose bed he transformed into something new and different. The confusion of those first few moments as she welcomed the sun's gifts, and he did not, could not do so. The hatred flashed into his mind too. There was something out there that wanted everything to be a part of it, and he wasn't able to give it what it wanted, and it hated him for that. The one being it couldn't control, the one thing it couldn't absorb, the deepness of loathing it could communicate through this brief connection was wider than anything he could imagine. That anger spanned the solar system and more. Then the clouds moved in and the sunbeam faded. Dr. Bright rolled his way through the rest.
That says a lot about what this thing actually is. That says a lot about what this thing actually is. I thought it might have been something in the light itself, but when I can't remember what her name was at all. She's the woman that got eradicated by 001 that basically flew around in space and pointed at threats. I thought she meant the light, but this sounds like the actual sun, like the sun, not just sunlight, the sun itself.
Rest of the building looking for anything that could help them.
Later that morning.
Hey,
Dr. Bright nudged Sumerian. Sumerian jostled awake and knocked into the cubicle wall looking for his weapon. Dr. Bright had already removed it from his reach by the time he came to, so instead Sumerian's hands went widely, grasping at nothing before he calmed down.
What?
Dr. Bright spoke through another pseudopod that was near Dr. Sumerian's face.
I found the exact coordinates. I think, anyway.
Good. Oh, how far is it from here?
A few hundred miles.
I mean, fair enough. Let me just take a leak and eat something, and then we can get going.
Yes. Half an hour later.
Dr. Sumerian clocked their ride first and started to move quickly towards the vehicle by the shipping containers.
Shotgun.
You can't call... Actually, that's exactly what we did last time.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to say it.
The windows were blacked completely out, but Sumerian was very careful to check for any flaws in the barrier before he settled into the passenger seat.
That is
Nevertheless, he kept his gear on. He was not about to stake his life against the integrity of the windows. Bright slowly oozed his way into the driver's seat, and what of him wouldn't fit, he wrapped around the outside. Numerous eye stalks popped up on the outside, and the fake body he formed inside turned the key, pressed the gas pedal, and began to shift into drive.
Alright, let's get back on the road.
That is absolutely disgusting.
Sumerian hummed to himself at first during the silence of the trip, before finally getting bored.
Hey, you mind if I check the radio?
Nah, go ahead. I wouldn't bet on anything good, though.
No.
Yeah, I know.
He started to turn the dial and all he heard was static. Then he caught the edge of a broadcast. He turned the dial back and it came in more clearly.
Anyone listening to this, please, don't be afraid. There's no need for fear anymore.
Yeah, there is.
The bright, shining day has finally arrived. Go outside and see the beauty of the day. We will all be together now.
No.
Do not waste your time with fear and hiding. Heaven is here. Why would you shy away from it?
Call me a betting man.
Ah, I see you now, Melanie. Walk towards the light. Yes, Join us.
No.
Dr. Bright's avatar reached a small fake handout and turned off the radio.
Okay, that was creepy.
Just a bit.
I mean, that's saying something coming from you.
Maybe. You don't have any music on your phone?
I do, but that was weird, right?
Yeah.
I just said it was creepy.
Sumerian shook his head.
No. It called out someone by name.
It probably found them at the same time it was broadcasting.
Maybe.
How far and how fast can this thing communicate with itself?
Dr. Bright's knot head dropped slightly.
Instantly, as far as I know.
You don't find that terrifying?
I do. I'm trying not to think about it.
Sumerian nodded.
Is that why you won't tell me what the transformation is like?
You really want to know? It's completely losing yourself. I felt something reach into my mind, scoop out my soul, and take out all my pain.
Was that it?
They're all there, Sim. Every one of them. Billions of human souls bound together. I can still hear them if I let it in.
But the necklace lets you block it out?
Yeah. I guess it doesn't like to share.
There was a long silence as they both let those words sink in.
You want to try the radio again?
Go for
Not
it.
really. Here, take my phone. Pick out one of my playlists.
Give me the Joe Rogan podcast. I want the Joe Rogan. Yes.
Haha, sweet. I hope you like Taylor Swift.
Why? The following morning.
Hey, Sim. Hey, Sim. Wake up.
Dr. Bright's voice and hand roused Dr. Sumerian from dreams of better times.
I'm up. Stop poking me.
We're only a few dozen miles from Yellowstone. It's almost sunrise, and the roads stop here. I think we're going to have to hoof it tonight.
There, any shelters around here?
Yeah, we're at the ranger station. The Foundation security used it as a guard post for 2000. Perimeter guard, you know.
Yep.
They have a cellar inside. Looks like it's got some supplies too. Not just junk food.
What's wrong with junk food?
Sumerian pulled his phone charger cable out of the vehicle's USB port, opened the door, and hopped out. The slightest bit of daylight was peeking over the horizon. Sumerian tightened the scarves around his neck and walked briskly into the front door of the ranger station. The building was a wood cabin structure, though it looked more like it had been used for storage. Boxes and barrels of God knows what were stacked up all around.
Come on, corned beef hash. Let's get something good here.
The lights and lamps were all dark, but Sumerian pulled out his phone and turned on the light.
Hey, Bright, where's the cellar?
Bright oozed in through the front door, or at least as much of him as he could fit inside comfortably did.
Over here.
Sumerian walked over and opened the heavy metal door and then stepped inside. This was no cellar. It was a bunker.
Okay.
The walls of this bunker were reinforced concrete, as was the ceiling with several layers of lead beyond that.
Nice.
Must be where the guards were meant to go, if 2000 went boom boom.
There were a few cots against the far wall, boxes piled high with rations, and a whole shelf full of board games.
Yo, Jack, you know how to play Monopoly?
Can you play that with just two people?
Yes.
I don't see why not. Want to find how I'm probably wrong?
The flesh lump that had poured itself down with him chuckled deeply.
Yeah, that's always a good laugh.
Sounds good to me. I'll set it. Wait.
Sumerian's voice dropped to a whisper
That's
as the
bad.
sound of rushing air caught both of their attentions.
Keep quiet and keep down. I'll close the door.
Bright's avatar quickly retreated back up the stairs and slowly closed the door. The rest of Dr. Bright slowly oozed back outside. A vehicle was approaching fast. He tried to remain as inconspicuous as possible, but he had no idea how whoever was coming would react to their own vehicle outside.
Uh-huh.
The sun was just barely cresting over the horizon when he heard it overhead. The sound wasn't a car. It was a plane.
A plane?
No, it was something else. It was a strange sensation. His number one priority was protecting the only human being within miles that could potentially reset the whole planet with the device hidden deep under Yellowstone. What he hadn't considered was the rest of the world was continuing on. And hell, maybe they had plans of their own. He quickly opened the door to the cellar and shoved as much of himself into the room as would be comfortable. He made sure that it included the necklace, just in case. Sumerian barely had time to react before the sound overhead became a deafening roar.
This is bad.
Bright slammed the bunker door shut quickly, cutting a large part of himself off entirely. Inside, he quickly threw his fist against the lockdown button.
Sim, get down!
He shouted, throwing himself on top of Sumerian. Then a few dozen miles away from them, just above SCP-2000's location, a blinding light and searing heat turned the other half of Dr. Bright into ash as the nuclear missile detonated in a blast that briefly outshone the sun.
Oh, damn it. They nuked 2000. That's it. It's over.
And that concludes part 2 of St. Elmo's Fire. We will continue this storyline a bit later in the year, but there will be more When Day Breaks in May. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to see more content, and thank you all for watching. Please...
Oh, that's... Oh my god, they nuked 2000. Oh. Well, that's done. If there was hope before, it's done now. It's completely screwed. It's finished. 2000 has been nuked. If it's not severely damaged, it's just completely wiped out. That means humanity's done. That means it's not recovering from this. It means it's over. It means any hope that was left in this is now lost. And the only thing that could probably change it would be a high-grade reality bender. But the ones that could do things on that scale wouldn't care to do it. Because what do they care if one reality goes out? Oh. That's not nice. Well, Zimmerman's alive, Bright's alive. They've nuked. It would have to be a high-yield nuclear weapon. But how much of the facility would be damaged is the question. How much of it would be destroyed? I have no idea, guys. Let me check. See what's next. Because I honestly don't know. Oh my god, that's just highly disappointing. Because we knew this, like, it was bad, but it just got worse. It was horrific, but it keeps getting worse. There was hope, but it's gone. Next episode's on 173. And no idea what that's going to do. Then we have the Gate Guardian. I'm going to watch that again, but I've already checked that out. So I'm just going to push that up. And then we have 682. And then the Forest. Followed by 610. Which 610 is the Flesh That Hates. So I'm really looking forward to see where they go with the Flesh That Hates compared to the Flesh. Just the Flesh. Guys, Mr. Illustrated's link's going to be in the description down below. Go check him out. Check out my own links, including my Patreon and merch done by Valk. I'm going to head on out of here. This was bad, and it just got depressingly bad. I'll catch you guys next time. That's just bad. They nuked 2000!